Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk about going full circle in Thailand in today's video, and I'll get to what I mean by that quite shortly. Bit of an impromptu video, wasn't expecting to make it, and I was actually making some walking content for Talks of Thailand and Walks of Thailand, and then it starts to rain, so I'll have to get back to that when the rain decides to stop. But I was thinking about, I want to do occasional videos for this channel. And what I'm talking about by going full circle is from arriving to the point in time when you come to the conclusion that perhaps your lifelong dream of remaining permanently in Thailand was a dream, and dreams can change. I think it also relates to what many people know as the honeymoon phase in Thailand. You arrive, and you're always in that never-ending loop in the sense that you're in Thailand, and because you don't have anything permanent in, you're a constant guest. In a way, you kind of treat it that way, thinking eventually it'll get to the point where I'm no longer a guest, and then you can take a step back. And that was always the way I looked at things, perhaps making certain sacrifices in order to be able to make Thailand a long-term reality, perhaps doing things that you wouldn't otherwise have done in order to make Thailand a long-term reality, holding back all the time on the understanding that you want Thailand to be a forever thing, so therefore you're not going to do anything that could potentially jeopardize that. But when you get to the point in time, and over the past few years, that was when I came to the conclusion and actually told myself, I will always be a permanent guest here. You either got to accept it or start thinking about something else. As far as I'm concerned, I will be in Thailand for probably 5 more years at a minimum. I may change my mind and stay longer. But I came to the conclusion, not that long ago, that Thailand won't be my forever home. I always thought it would be. For the past 20 years, I thought it would be. I always committed to that on the understanding that eventually something would happen. But then you get to the point in time where you understand that it's not. And you start looking at the bigger picture and understanding that regardless of what you've done in Thailand, unless you fall into a very small niche of people who are able to go further than be a temporary guest, then that's not going to be the case. So you start off in Thailand, regards to the circle, love the country, everything's amazing, you commit to living there, and you look at opportunities in Thailand and out of Thailand, and you take the inside Thailand opportunity, even though it perhaps might not be as lucrative as opportunities out of the country, because you've got the Thailand in the back of your mind. This is where I want to be, so I'll commit to Thailand and I'll make that sacrifice for the long-term good that will come of that. And I guess this is probably more targeted at younger expats thinking about moving to Thailand. And then you continue down that pathway, always weighing up the opportunities, cost between opportunities in Thailand and out of Thailand. And you move down the path of always Thailand, always Thailand, always Thailand, regardless of what else you could do. Because after you've stayed there for a long time, you start to feel like, although you're not part of the country in the legal sense, you're part of the country because you feel like you are. Because that's where you're spending all your time, that's where you're meeting people, that's where you're doing things. And then that goes on for a number of years, and you start trying to develop closer connections to the country, thinking that's going to actually give you something physical to hold on to connect you there, other than the fact that you're trying to make that happen. And that goes on and on and on and on. And then it gets to the point where the circle starts going back round to the starting point, where you're getting closer, life's progressed in a long way, and you're still exactly in the same position as you were when you first got here, regardless of everything that you've ever done here. It makes you come to the conclusion, or I have, that, okay, I'm not welcome here, as in the way that perhaps I would want to be, given the fact that I've spent more than half my life in the country. Okay, I'll accept that, and I'll look for somewhere else. Aside from the fact that there are commitments in place at the moment which will last for 4 or 5 more years, then after that, as far as I'm thinking at the moment, the world is my oyster to go and move somewhere else. Where, I don't know. And I get it for people who are retiring to Thailand, who have lived out of Thailand all their lives, maybe come on the occasional holiday every now and then, loved it, moving here for retirement. I think that's a very different situation than someone moving here at a young age. So many people moving here now who I don't believe are understanding of the bigger picture as to what it entails to live long term in Thailand, rightly or wrongly. But I think that Thailand could be so much better if a few things changed. And of course that's not going to happen. But you always think that something will happen. Something will happen eventually to make things the way that you might perhaps consider they should be. You look at examples from your own country and think, I wonder why people have it so much easier there than they do in Thailand. And I suppose that's by design. But whereas our countries have gone so far in the wrong direction, Thailand only needs to adjust itself a little bit, but it's not going to. You always think it will because to you that's how things make sense, but it's not going to, so you accept that. And if you're new to Thailand, living in Thailand for even 3 or 4 years, you consider yourself a seasoned expert, there's so much more to Thailand after you've spent decades in the country than you can even imagine. This is coming from someone who's lived in Bangkok for many years, Chiang Mai for even more years than that, rural Thailand for numerous years in different regions, seen it all, done it all. Nothing shocks you, nothing surprises you. And in a way, that's why I really like doing Talks of Thailand, because I have so much experience in the country. You can tell almost immediately if this story is a story written by a person or by AI. Because I have so many claims made by people who perhaps might have a bit of an intellectual deficiency, who don't seem to be able to tell the difference between AI and a really Thailand story written by a person. Perhaps they haven't listened to it to the end, perhaps they don't know the difference. And one thing that I am probably aware of is perhaps AI is only a year, 2 years away from that point in time, which is why I'm doing Walks of Thailand, which is why I'm doing this channel, which is why I'm thinking about the bigger picture and doing more things. But Thailand was always the dream for me. Ever since I first came, Thailand was a dream. But perhaps Thailand was the wrong dream. Because while everything's okay, no problems, I got to renew my work permit in January, visa in July next year, and then you've got to do it the year after, and the year after, and you've got to maintain the company to go along with the work permit, so those are expenses that you wouldn't have to make if you could just live here. There's so much stuff that you have to do over and above what somebody else would have to do who is Thai. Which is fine, I get that, that's fine. If you've been here for a few years, that's fine. But if you've been there for decades and you're still not really on a level playing field, I'm not complaining, it's fine, that's how it is. And I've come to the decision that Thailand will not be my forever home because of that very reason. So I think that's important for anyone thinking about moving to Thailand. You can listen to all the stories of people who have just arrived. If I'd just arrived in my 5th year when I was in Thailand, I wouldn't have been saying like this. I wouldn't have any opinions of the sort because I was still green around the ears for Thailand and what it meant to me. And I haven't met many people who have been in the country longer than 15, 20 years who feel the same about it that they did when they first arrived. But to them, it's still a better choice than going home. And that's the thing, going home. You say, go home. Where is home? Is home where you come from, or is home where you live? Because if home is where I come from, that means my home is a place I've not been to for 15 years. How does that make sense? I don't know. But anyway, thought it would be interesting just to keep adding bits of content to this channel, just talking about random opinions and things. Talks of Time will always be the main, but again, all these AI channels cropping up with just generic nonsense. And it's fine. People are free to do that. And I appreciate you guys who know the difference and who understand what Talks of Thailand is all about and what we're trying to do with that channel. Because if it helps anybody to not make the same Thailand mistakes, if it just entertains people who like stories, that's good as well. But it is extremely Thailand focused and Thailand real. And none of the AA channels are. And Walks of Thailand is the same. That's the thing also, in terms of the honeymoon phase. Now I've seen probably 100, probably more than that, people come to Thailand for the sole focus of making videos, vlogging themselves, giving advice to people. And that's fine, you're out to do that. But how can someone who has not even been in the country for 2 months make a video about all the mistakes that expats make? Because would you even consider yourself an expat at 2 months in the country? So, I don't know. But the problem is people are looking for that positive. People are looking for something to latch onto that gives them an excuse to consider the possibility that they too may be able to escape their own life and move to Thailand. And listening to someone who's done it, saying how easy it is and how fantastic it is a lot better or more in line with their own hopes than listening to someone who has done it for a long time and who's come to the conclusion that I was probably within the other 99% of people who don't go further than a permanent guest. Even though I went through the effort of trying to make that different, it's got to the situation where I'm not prepared to spend, for example, just over 1 million baht for a small chance to potentially get something more permanent, because I am technically eligible to apply. I could apply this year, well, probably don't have enough time, but it's a shot in the dark, and I'm not prepared to take that risk, because it goes to show that it could be a bad choice. Nothing against Thailand. I love Thailand, love living in Thailand, but what I'm ultimately trying to say is I've come to a full circle now where I feel a lot freer under knowledge and understanding that Thailand is not going to be my forever home. I feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more free, and a lot more focused on the bigger picture as opposed to doing everything just to be able to stay in Thailand. And I think that's what anyone could potentially take from this. What is Thailand worth? What is Thailand worth? Is it worth your life? Or is it worth what you can get from it? Is it worth sacrificing everything else for the ability to be in the country? Or isn't it? The thing is, people who are not at this stage will say Thailand's worth it. But I would have to probably disagree, and it has stopped raining, so I can finally go and do what I came here to do in the first place. Anyway, cheers.